Hello, guys. My name is Winnie, and welcome to the Will Spin podcast, the home of Formula One content and everything motorsport. Welcome to our Miami Grand Prix race debrief. This was the second sprint. This is the new format introduced by Formula One to add to the spectacle that is a Formula One weekend. So for the new fans, the sprint weekend basically is an independent event from the main race events of a weekend. So this time during the weekend, we have shortened, on a typical Formula One weekend, we have 2 practice sessions. They get to just have that, it's called free practice. They get that time to practice and just see where the car is, and see what changes they can make and, how their car is performing on a certain track. But now on a sprint weekend, they only get 1 free practice session. And then the next session is followed by the sprint qualifying, what sets the grid for the sprint race on Saturday. And then on Saturday, we have the sprint race. The top 8 drivers get points. And then we have later on in the afternoon, the qualifying for the Grand Prix on Sunday. And then Sunday, we have the race. So the sprint race is just a short sprint, just 100 kilometers of a race. The only difference with the main race is that they don't have to change tires. It's not mandatory to have a pit stop. And this was one such weekend. We came from China last weekend, and it was also like another sprint race. And this weekend was also another sprint race. This was Miami. The first time Formula One raced in Miami was 2022. So I guess we were here for the 2022, the first edition, and we were here for the 3rd edition of the Miami Grand Prix. The Miami Grand Prix is always like a whole spectacle. I don't know, they have all like the Hollywood, people show up to Miami. We even had, among the people I saw was Kendall Jenner. Kendall Jenner did a hot lap with Lewis Hamilton. It's always nice when you see, I know people who are fans of the celebrities, outside Formula One, and they see their world intersecting with F1. I'm so sure that's a great crossover for everybody. I think Camila Cabello was very present in the Formula One garage. I think she was with Ferrari. Yeah. And then I think she was also performing somewhere. This is also the weekend that Formula One Academy returned. Formula One Academy again. It's just it's a Formula One initiative to try and increase the female talent pool and enhance their journeys in their roads to Formula One. So they were returning for their second round. Remember, this year Formula One Academy will be racing alongside Formula One to just increase their viewerships and just give them a bit more screen time for the drivers and the teams. So yeah, there was really a lot happening at the Miami Grand Prix. We also had I know Formula One keeps on saying I don't understand, let's not bring politics into things. And then Donald Trump shows up at the paddock. That was really shocking to see him there. He was with the McLaren garage. That was really a shocking figure. So I know a number of, Travis Kelce, that's Taylor Swift's boyfriend. Yeah. Travis Kelce is an NFL player. He was also at the Grand Prix as well. Remember, he's an investor with Alpine. So I think last year they announced a number of Hollywood celebrities invested in that team, the Alpine team. So yeah, Miami is always just the most random person you can think about will be at the Miami Grand Prix, and it's always a great spectacle. So I want to quickly just go through what stood out for me. I think it was really there was really action. This was a race that we expected to be boring. People always say Miami is not that interesting, but God, did it deliver? It delivered. So straight from the bat, let's go. In fact, we didn't get to do the post-quali show for this weekend where we react to the qualifying and this weekend sprint race. We didn't get to do that. So let me kick off this episode by talking about my highlights from this weekend. So if you've not listened to the other episode, we have a new thing where we have the bee, the sting, and the honey. So the bee is something that the overall spectacle, what stood out for us during this whole race weekend. And then we have the sting is something that was an ouch moment for us from this weekend. And then the honey is the sweetest thing that came from this weekend. Of course, I'll kick off with my beef for this weekend has to be Lando Norris winning his first Grand Prix. This was his 110th start, and he had that like long, history of racing in Formula One, but never getting to win. He's finished P2 in normal races over 8 times. That's like some commendable stuff, but he's really never got to win. And at the Miami Grand Prix, he got to get his first win, and in like the grandest of spectacles, because this win meant a lot for McLaren. And I think I want to just dive into that as well. McLaren were bringing upgrades. When we saw the list that was released of the upgrades they had like 10 front wing, whatever. They were adding just a bits of everything on their front wing, on their side pods. They really, one thing about McLaren, they will stand on business. And let me just take you briefly to last year. Remember last year, 2023 season, McLaren, they started their season 2023 very dismally. They were doing so badly. Like, it was so bad. And then we had their turn of fortunes in Austria, was it, last year in 2023. They brought upgrades and things turned around for them. So they have been standing on business since last year. So the upgrades saw them now, bring the fight to the Ferraris, to the Mercedes last year. Mostly the Ferraris, really, they were just jostling for the top positions after Max Verstappen last year. So McLaren has really been standing on business. And then coming into this year, they've been, from off the bat, they're performing very, very nicely. So I think they carried on, and we talked about it even before the season started. We were saying they had momentum. So they carried momentum from 2023. And like, that serves to show that once a team finishes the year on a high, it's very easy to carry over that momentum into the new season. So we've had McLaren carry the same enthusiasm. Like, they are like, how many times will I say, they are standing on business. They are standing on their big business. So we had them come this weekend, say they are bringing big upgrades, and they delivered. They brought upgrades that really worked. And I think I just like the trajectory that McLaren is on. I think early on in the season, they said they were projecting to actually win a race towards the end of this. While the season is ending, they were anticipating to be winning races. But this is round six of the Formula One season. We have a long season ahead of us. So it was looking like everything is a Max Verstappen. This is Max Verstappen's title. It's still his title to lose, really. But then this is really what we want in Formula One for now. Like, once we have Red Bull I think Max Verstappen has been, was not really on the whole of this weekend per se. Like, the way he has everything dialed in from the weekend. I mean, he was off he was complaining, the grip. I think he had issues in practice. Even quali, I think there's one qualifying sprint shooter. He was like, "Oh, I'm actually shocked. We actually got P1 because he didn't feel like he did like such a good job, like as maybe as his performances from previous weekends, where he has seemed to be in control and in one with his car, and he's like utterly like dominated the grid." And yeah, I think that was like one like sign of it. Like, I mean, of course, their pit stops are okay, but Max didn't seem to have the wow factor. And like him, he was driving before, I think during the race, and that's why he sustained damage. He hit the bollards, I think on the 21 of 57 laps. And, that apparently damaged his floor, and that also affected him going after Lando Norris during after that safety car restart. So Max Verstappen seemed to have like an off weekend, but this is what we want. Like, when Red Bull are not like, when there's an error, either a driver error or a team error, then let's have someone stepping in there, like someone already to pick up the slack. And I feel like that is what happened with McLaren. They were there, they had the car. If people are making messes, if people have issues with their car and they are not 100%, then we have someone stepping in there and taking the lead and winning a Grand Prix. So that's really brilliant stuff from McLaren and from Lando Norris, and congratulations to him for his maiden win. It was really nice. That has to be like my highlight for the weekend. The sting for this weekend has to be, I think while I cover like what really stood out to me, I'll just be highlighting the different events of the weekend. The sting I really felt for Logan Sargent. Logan Sargent, this was his home race. He grew up like a couple of miles from the Miami Grand Prix. So this really was his home race. And he was really pushing. You could see it. He was pushing. And then for him to have such an unfortunate incident where he was taken out by one Kevin Magnussen, guys, I am just struggling. Can we get Kevin Magnussen out of Formula One immediately? Immediately get this one. He needs a break from Formula One because I do not understand how he is driving. So he took out Logan Sargent during the race, led to that safety car that allowed McLaren to pit Lando Norris and save time, and that's how he came out still P1 and was able to keep Max Verstappen behind. So Kevin Magnussen has just been a terrorist this weekend. There's no one he has not terrorized this weekend. Who was Lewis Hamilton during the sprint race? He's cutting. I mean, he said he was helping Hulkenberg's race, but really he was cutting chicanes, not making corners, exiting track limits. He has gotten almost a total of 5 points? 5 points on his super license. The super license is just a special license that's given to Formula One drivers. Really, like you have to get to a certain threshold to get the super license. But then now, for in every race weekend, there's like a penalty that can be applied on your license. Just if you show unsportsmanlike behavior, if you're causing collisions, if you're driving dangerously per se, you have to be penalized for it. And now the points the cap, there's there's a cap for the penalty points you can accumulate on the super license. So if you go past 12, you receive one race ban. You cannot race for Formula One. You have to skip a race. That's the punishment. But then the super license penalties, they expire. Like if I got one in March this year, it expires after every 12 months. Kevin Magnussen has 10 penalty points on his license. And the first couple of those penalty points dissipating or being annulled is March 9, 2025. I think he's really on the tipping point of being banned from Formula One. Okay, for a race, that is. I think he's treading very dangerously. I think he's driving very dangerously, and it's like he took out Logan Sargent. I mean, and Logan was really going for it. It's his home race. Probably will be his last home race. I don't know if he's going to return to Formula One. We still don't know who will be driving in those two Williams seats for next year. So I just felt so sorry for Logan Sargent. So that has to be my sting for the weekend. My honey for the weekend was Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton was fighting. Lewis Hamilton had a good... He seemed very happy with his car. Like for the first time, he seemed like he liked driving that car. Remember, Mercedes were bringing upgrades this weekend. At the start of the weekend, they're qualifying. There's both sprint qualifying and Grand Prix qualifying weren't looking very good, and their upgrades didn't look like they were doing okay. Russell particularly seemed like he was struggling. Russell, I didn't even see a lot of exceptional driving from him this weekend. Lewis Hamilton was really fighting. The amazing thing about, no, not even, I don't know if it's an amazing thing, but these cars in Formula One, this era of Formula One, the cars are able to follow. Like, for example, Lewis was in Perez's, DRS, that's a drag reduction system. He was behind for, the gap between Perez and Lewis Hamilton was just below a second for so long. And that's amazing. Really, he was able to keep with the pace of the Red Bull. And the straight line speed for the Mercedes sucks. So, I think that's why they're also losing out a little bit. And the car didn't seem also very, very well dialed in, especially while making the corners. That's with the Mercedes. So, but I feel that's really impressive stuff from Lewis Hamilton. He was guys, give me more power. He was really animated, loved to see it. And he finished, I think, the sprint was rather unfortunate. He was given a penalty, a drive-through penalty for, was it a safety car infringement? There's something he did. He got a penalty for that. And that's so he had finished in the points, but then dropped out of the points. So, I think that was also my honey for this weekend. Lewis Hamilton fighting and asking for more power. That's the Lewis we like. Everyone likes a fighting Lewis. When he is there meaning business, showing up, being like, yes, let's go hunting. It's hammer time. Let's go home. So yeah, that was really like nice to really catch on. Something else that stood out for me during this race was Carlos Sainz. I mean, we all liked like Carlos Sainz. Yeah, he's a brilliant driver, excellent racecraft. But I found him particularly like annoying during the race. He's like, oh my god, he pushed Oscar Piastri off the track, and then he claims, oh my god, Oscar Piastri went off the track. So in Formula One, if you overtake someone, like there's always like a track limit. So if the car is 4 wheels off the white line and you overtake someone, you're penalized, right? You're supposed to give that place back. If you don't, you get a time penalty, mostly like a 5-second penalty. Like after the race, your time is added, your time score is added, like a time penalty, then drops you down the order. So that was really like annoying. So he's already reporting the radio. Oh my god, tell them to give me back the position. And I'm like, first of all, you pushed him off the track. It's you, Carlos. It's your fault. And then, as it was very interesting, he actually ended up being penalized for causing a collision with Oscar's race, and he destroyed Oscar's race. By the way, he tagged Oscar Piastri, he was at some point leading. He was, a race leader, and he was leading the Grand Prix, and for the better part was running P2. So I feel like that Carlos Sainz was really pretty unfair. He got like a 5-second penalty in his time, and he got a point on his on his super license. So I don't think that was really like a good thing, because I feel like from then on he destroyed Oscar Piastri's race, because Oscar had to pit, and unnecessary pitting to replace his front wing, and then he wasn't able to fight through the places. But the thing is, I feel like I think McLaren's like fortunes were like a mixed basket. They won a race, but then here they had more potential to score points as a team with Oscar, and then Oscar with that unfortunate incident with Carlos Sainz missing out on very, very important points. Then that was also like like unfortunate as well, like, and something to really be sad about. And then we also remember during the sprint race, like Lando, I'll go there. I know I will go there. We are headed there. So yeah, that was Carlos Sainz, who was like really, no, it was not giving. So this whole weekend, Kevin Magnussen, the one I was saying, he was on the brinks? He's on the brink of like a race ban in Formula One for his dangerous driving. Like, Kmag received a total of 65 seconds like penalties, and also like 5 points on his super license. He also received another penalty for going through the pit lane. The pit lane is where the cars come in to pit during a safety car, and he didn't even pit. So it was like he was going through it. Like, I don't understand, why is Haas making such errors? Like, it's not making sense. It does not make sense. But anyway, that's like they accepted it's a team error. I do not understand how you're making such errors 6 rounds in, or like so many years in Formula One. So yeah, so let's talk about Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso this weekend was very mad, saying he's going for FIA. Like, he's saying there's a bias against like the Spanish drivers. So Lewis Hamilton. So during the sprint race, there was like a whole like there was like lap 1 events incident. So Lewis Hamilton happened to be the inside. He locked a little bit, and then I think, did he tag on someone? Then there were the 2 Aston Martins, as in there were like almost 4 cars on the same line. Like, I don't think Lewis Hamilton was able to see there were like 3 cars or 4 cars. Anyways, that race event was investigated. No further action. But Alonso was there, I mean, doing the, Alonso stuff, whining, of course, which is okay. Like, I mean, there was an investigation last year of the FIA president Ben Sulayem like interfering with race results last year at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, involving Alonso, having Alonso's penalty withdrawn. I just thought it was so rich of Alonso to be accusing the FIA of bias. I was like, okay. I mean, of course there is always that, but like against Spanish drivers, against you, Alonso, you've been on the positive receiving end of the FIA bias. Anyway, we should call it out, but I don't think it was like, I do not see how they were blaming Lewis Hamilton for that. I mean, that's the whole move that actually took out Lando Norris, which was like unfortunate. And I felt like he could have added a bit of zhuzh to the race. He would have added a bit of the spectacle because the upgrade seemed to be working. And also, I think I also, during the start, I think, let's talk about the start of the race as well. Like, Perez almost took out Max Verstappen with that. Yeah, that would have been crazy. But who knew? We didn't even need anyone to be taken out for us to get a new race winner for this 2024 season. Like, yeah. So Alonso and Aston Martin this weekend, it didn't seem like they really had things dialed in as well with Stroll and Alonso. I really don't have so much to talk about them apart from Alonso. That's just rich of you to be, anyway. He has a right to just talk about whatever. Let's talk about the V Cup. Daniel Ricciardo had a very good sprint race, finished P4. Yeah, that was like the highest finish I think he has had in a minute. So that was really like impressive stuff for him. But then now the race stream was where he was going to struggle. Remember, Daniel Ricciardo was carrying a grid penalty, 3 grid penalty for a safety car infringement. He overtook someone under the safety car. Was it Kevin Magnussen? One of the horses, I think, from last weekend in China. The last time out, Formula One was racing in China. So he carried over that penalty to Miami. That's why he started quite low down. And I think he finished P15. I think they had to struggle with pace. Let me talk about my baby Yuki Tsunoda. I am so proud and happy for Yuki. Yuki finished P7 and he seemed to be challenging. He kept his head together. I just love the direction that Yuki has been taking. I'm so proud of Yuki. I am absolutely proud of him and I hope he gets to stay in Formula One and progress to probably Red Bull later in his career. He's really doing amazing. That P7 finish for him was like really, really, really like impressive stuff. The two Saubers, I don't think there's really like anything spectacular about them happening this weekend. The Ferraris, I've talked about Sainz. Charles Leclerc also seemed to be, I like Charles Leclerc. He's a good racer, but I kind of feel like sometimes Leclerc is just not. He finished P3, which is impressive stuff. But then sometimes I just need him to, the way you win a championship is to be like consistent. And I hope he will. I think this is the year he gets to be like consistent with like, consistent with, if you do like, you're good at the one lap thing, you also come and be good in the race. So yeah, there's really nothing spectacular about him this weekend. There's also like another battle that the other crazy thing is how closely he was able to follow Oscar Piastri, like that is Charles Leclerc. These Formula One cars like are impressive in that sense, but you can follow so closely, but then the overtaking becomes a bit hard, and that's something I think they have to look out for. I really do not think there was anything else for me from the cute things. Fred Vassar is always a cartoon. I saw this video of him just being somewhere. He had like a cape backwards, a McLaren cape. Fred Vassar is a joker, a clown, but I love it. We love to see it. And now, of course, we've talked about the Adrian Newey news and what it could mean for Red Bull. Personally, I don't think it would really have like a very big effect on their car right now, on their car, because I think they already have the nitty-gritties dialed in. The effect probably will come in 2026. Remember, this is 2026. Formula One will be introducing a new set of regulations, and that's big because now it's like the engineers are starting from scratch again. Like, let's now build something within this regulation. Since 2022 to now, up to 2025, we've been running on what they call the ground effect regulations, and that's what Red Bull seem to have gotten so well, and McLaren seem to also be getting them even, getting a bit closer to Red Bull, and them doing it this early on in the season. That's like really impressive stuff. Toto Wolff, I really do not have things to say about Toto Wolff. He still annoys me with I feel like he's not okay. I mean, there are all this news swirling around. Mercedes might be signing Max Verstappen. In all honesty, it's nice, in Formula One, say like nothing. I mean, no one thought Adrian Newey will be leaving Red Bull. And I feel like it will be such a bad calculated move. And I feel so bad for George Russell. I thought he was the number one driver now. So, like now that Lewis is leaving, that is, and now they don't trust him to hold up the build and the car development there at Mercedes. That's really crazy. So I don't know if Max will go to Mercedes. I don't know what that situation looks like. Like, I think we'll just have to wait and see how everything pans out. Who will get that second seat at Mercedes? Is it Max Verstappen? Is it Kimi Antonelli, the F2, skipped F3, went directly into F2, and he's one of Toto Wolff's proteges, and he's really amazing, a very great talent as well. And let's go to, I think I also briefly want to mention F1 Academy. I think Abby Pauling, really the Alpine team driver, Formula One Academy driver, really utterly dominated the competition. She got the poles from this weekend and won both races in Formula One Academy. That's really amazing stuff. Congratulations to Abby and the Formula One Academy. There's so many events happening at the Miami. I'm saying, like, when you think about Miami, it's just like a celebrity spectacle. Like, there's so many events. Formula One Academy had pop-up events. They had like yoga, whatever. Like, that's really cute events for women in motorsport. So I was really like some impressive like stats and like events to watch people go to through social media. We're hoping next year maybe we can get to go some. I don't know. Yeah. So basically, I think that's it for me. Like, is there anything else that really stood out for me? I loved the weekend. The weekend delivered. This race action was efficient. Overtakes were everywhere at the most unexpected positions. People were fighting. The emotions are high. We have a new race winner, and finally, but Max picked up damage by the way from hitting that bollard. But then again, why are you hitting a bollard now? You're racing alone. Like, he was in clean air. So anyways, we're hoping for, if you make more errors, then we have McLarens there ready to take on the race. And I think that's it from me. We're going out in Imola for the Italian Grand Prix in a fortnight, and that's like an amazing Grand Prix to look forward to. I think a few teams will also be bringing a few upgrades here and there. This weekend, I think Ferrari didn't have any. I think among the top runners, the Ferrari team didn't have any like upgrades, because Red Bull had some upgrades, Aston Martin as well. McLaren had that Ferrari long list of upgrades that seem to be working as well. Unfortunate for Oscar Piastri, but I hope now that they have like a car that's underneath them, that's good with them, they will do much, much better. Now, I almost forgot to talk about Estie Bestie. Estie Bestie scored points for Alpine. They seem to have cut the weight off their heavy car. I'm so happy for them. Like, Esteban Ocon, I'm happy for you and proud of you. I will never be there for any Esteban Ocon slander. I love Esteban Ocon, and congratulations for P10. Like, that's big. And even Gasly seemed to be a bit more, a bit optimistic about like what they can do now. There was that close moment they had at the start. I didn't know two cars would go through whatever they went through there. So that was like crazy as well. But congratulations to Alpine. I really do not have anything much more to say. I will catch you out in Imola. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Will Spin Podcast, and to follow us wherever you stream your podcast from. You can follow us on Instagram and on TikTok and on Twitter at the Will Spin Podcast. That's all from me. I'll catch you out in Imola.